Good day to you and welcome to this video on how to overcome overthinking. I'm going to share 3 really useful tools to help you get out of your head and into action so you can do more of what you love. I'm John Prince, I'm author of Start Before You're Ready, and I'm a life and mindset coach. I'm a perception coach. I help people to shift their thinking and connect with their true authentic self so they can do more of what they love. So before we dive into this video, and I share the tips. First off, we've got to understand what overthinking is. Overthinking is what I call a holding pattern. So it's where there's something that you want to do, there's a direction you want to go in, something maybe you want to change or experience, yet you just get stuck in a level of thinking. It's also called rumination, but it's ultimately where your thoughts are going round and round and you're circling. So you're not getting to a solution, you're not changing anything, you're just going round and round. So it's called a holding pattern. It's like a plane would go round and round while they're waiting for the signal to land. And when we get stuck in overthinking, we are waiting for something to happen, something to change before we land and take action or make a decision or do the thing that we want to do. And I'm going to give you these 3 tools to help you to break out of that. So the first tool is you've got to understand the difference between thinking and overthinking. Thinking is useful, right? You might think about what you want to do with your day. You might want to reflect on yourself and use thinking to come up with ideas. Yet overthinking is when you're just thinking too much. There's too much of it. It's a little bit like if you're eating and you eat food and you enjoy the food, and then overeating, you just keep going and you feel like you can't stop. And that's part of overthinking, is you feel like you just have to think. You have to just keep thinking, right? And you can't shut it off. When you see the difference between thinking and overthinking, this can help you to explore that. So take something that you're overthinking right now and think about how you're approaching it. So I'll give you the example of, let's just say someone's boss drops them an email and they say, I want to speak with you on Monday. And it's Friday, and then you've said, okay, you've got the whole weekend. Someone who's overthinking this, they're going to start to play out all the different scenarios of what might happen or what this might mean. So thinking in this situation would be, my boss has emailed me and we're going to have a conversation. There's a few different possibilities. That's what it is. Overthinking is where you really start to examine it and come up with creative ideas of what that might mean. And this is all based on the past. It's based on what you think might happen. It's assumptions. You're just going to go spinning round and round because you're not going to come to a conclusion. The thing about overthinking is the brain wants to try and find certainty. And so it keeps going until you get certainty. But guess what? In this situation, you're not going to get certainty until you have the conversation on Monday with your boss. So the first step is to understand, where am I thinking? This is the thing I want to do. This is what I need to look at, versus what might happen and what's going to go on and what this might mean and what they're thinking and all of this other stuff that is ultimately just added on to the thinking. And as you let go of all that extra thinking and don't spend time there and don't entertain it, just notice when it's happening and return to the present moment, you won't get lost in it. And it's just understanding that ultimately what your brain is trying to do is reach a conclusion and reach a sense of certainty, but you won't get that in your head. So the holding pattern of going round and round and round is, if you think about it more and more and more, something's going to change. But that's not how it works. More thinking is just like adding fuel onto the fire. It doesn't put the fire out, it keeps the fire burning. So being aware of that, creating awareness around, what's the thinking here? And what am I adding to it? What's that extra overthinking that I'm adding to it in order to try and solve it? That can help you get grounded. The second tool is to flip the what ifs. So when you're in that space of overthinking, you're trying to fix and solve it, our brain has a tendency to go to the worst case scenarios. So what if the worst case happens? What, in this situation with the boss, what if I get fired? What if I lose my job? What if I get humiliated? What if I can't handle it? What if this happens? It's always on the negative, right? And it's just your brain trying to protect you, trying to keep you safe, trying to gain a sense of control. Now, rather than go down the negative route, you can balance this out by looking at the positives. So flip the what ifs. What if my boss wants to speak with me about having a raise? What if I'm going to get some positive feedback? What if I'm going to get some feedback that helps me in my role and helps me improve? What if I get fired and it's the best thing that could ever happen to me, because then I go and do something else, or I go somewhere where I'm appreciated, or I have that jolt out of my comfort zone? Flip the what ifs allows you to start playing out positive scenarios. Now, the reason why this is a tool is because your brain just won't do this for you. If you've had the habit of overthinking, so you've had that habit of layering on the extra thinking or going down the negative route, that's just a habit. So you can break the habit by bringing awareness to when you go to the negative what ifs and choosing a positive one, and just letting yourself rest in that awareness, in that space, and try on those thoughts and feelings. You'll find it's quite exciting. You start to feel better about yourself. You start to feel more positive, and this can be the kind of thing that moves you into actually taking proactive and positive action. Now, the third tool to get you out of overthinking and into action is to move either your mind or move your body. So typically, again, when we're overthinking, we're in that holding pattern, we're going round and round and round and nothing's changing. You might sit there at your desk and you've got a ton of stuff going on, and it's like, if I just think more about this, then I'll figure it out. But you get stuck, you're still circling round. Best thing to do to land the plane, or even just to get ready to give the signal to go down, is first off, you can move your mind. So rather than just thinking about the same thing over and over again, change your attention. You can place your attention onto something else. If I give that example again of the boss, and they've said you're going to speak with them on Monday, rather than just sitting there thinking about it all evening, you can move your attention. What would I like to place my attention on right now? And focus on something different. It could be just relaxing and watching a film. It could be spending time with friends. It could be meditating, doing some drawing, doing something creative. But by switching your attention, you're actually taking control of your brain, because overthinking is just this passive activity that's going on by default. And you changing your attention is saying, rather than spending all my time looking here, I'm going to move and place my attention over here. You're taking control. And what you'll find is, if you place your attention onto something that you feel either excited about or curious about, or it gives you a sense of freedom, you might get hit by an insight about what the best idea is, or how you can move in the direction that you want to go. And this is what ultimately can help you land the plane. So number one is move your attention, move your mind to something different. The second way you can do this is to move your body. So if you're, again, sat on the sofa or sat at your desk and there's too much going on and it's too challenging, and you're stuck ruminating thoughts going round and round and round in your mind, move your body, because your mind and your body are linked. It's a psychosomatic system. So what we think sends messages to our body, and typically when we're overthinking, we're probably feeling a little bit stressed or a little bit worried, or we're just lost. And that sends a message to the body, and then the body feels that way too, and it sends a message back up to the brain, and you're in this cycle. Well, you can break the cycle by moving your body. You might go and just jump up from your desk and go out for a walk for 10 minutes. Changes the scenery completely, gives you a different experience, gets you outside of your head. You might go to the gym or go exercise and work out. But literally moving your body changes your whole physiology. It changes the way that you feel in your body, which sends a message to your brain that might say, rather than we're stressed or we're worried about this or we're stuck, we're actually moving, we're in action. It's a chance for you to take control, a chance for you to mix things up and change. Because ultimately, if we think of overthinking as that holding pattern again, it's going round and round and round. Well, what we want to do is break that pattern, break that cycle, and actually land, right? And so the last piece of this, which you can really do, is go and take an action, any kind of action. If you're overthinking because you're waiting or worrying about something, going to take an action shows yourself that you can break out. And often you don't feel ready for this, which is why I wrote a whole book on starting before you're ready. Because if we're just waiting for that solution to come, or to feel better, or for something to change outside of us, that's when ultimately it isn't going to happen. You can make it happen. So you can make it happen by using these 3 tools, where you can first off just notice the thinking versus the overthinking. Second is flip those what ifs. And third is move your mind or move your body, take an action. Honestly, taking an action is such a powerful way to get you out of that space of overthinking or waiting for something to change, and you can make the change. You can go and take that step and get out there and make it happen. So the key part that I want you to take away from today is that you don't have to keep overthinking. It is a habit, it is a routine that's going on, and as you become aware of it, where am I adding that extra thinking? Where am I trying to solve things inside my head? Notice that, and then use one of these tools to break out. You can get out into action, you can feel more free, you can shift your energy and start enjoying life again. If you found this useful, hit the subscribe button, join me for more. I'll catch you soon, and as always, big love.